Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Game 4 between coL.CrunCher and Dignitas.NaNi. Now, Artosis, people were they were on the forums going, there's no way CrunCher can do anything. This is going to look like Masters versus Bronze. But I swear to you, that's what some of the posts sounded like. So CrunCher coming out at least with one game. NaNi showing his dominance like everyone expects him to do, but he's got to take one more to close the series. CrunCher has to win this to stay alive.
And what will CrunCher actually choose to do on this map? I mean, it's such a long map that if the game doesn't end early, who knows what's going to happen? I mean, when it gets to be huge Colossus versus Colossus battles, there's so many little intricacies that haven't been fully explored by anyone. So, I mean, it is definitely possible for CrunCher to come back here and win this game and tie it up 2-2. We're just going to have to see what they choose to do in the early game. Is someone going to get overly aggressive? I don't know, man. I just don't know.
Yeah, and one thing that's going to be interesting as well, Artosis, is just kind of thinking about these positions a little bit. You know, cross position, it definitely changes things. But as we have these two scouts going over and certainly realizing where another one or one another are, that's going to instantly just change the mindset of both of these players as they start to flesh out their build a little bit. The gateways going down, almost identical simulators as well. But actually, NaNi going the opposite direction despite watching the probe come into his base. I suppose, you know, it's understandable. He could have actually gone clockwise in his scouting, but he will find his opponent last.
Yeah, and I think that NaNi will realize this perhaps. You know, if he does go over to 9, that might actually be a problem because CrunCher might be doing something crazy, but he could go directly across the map. We'll have to see, but lucky for him, CrunCher just doing exactly the same thing as NaNi. We see nothing special from either player yet, just getting their Zealots, playing this very standard and safe opening.
And it does look like he is going to scout the 9 o'clock. And you know what, NaNi, he might have scouted it anyway, just to make sure there's nothing crazy going on there. I don't know what the hell you'd actually be doing over there, but anything can happen. So do note this pylon here from CrunCher, really angry with it. Did manage to take out all of its shields, but after all that work, he never damaged the hull. Zealot is out, and well, he'll eventually take care of that probe right there. Real quick look at the income, exactly the same, 19-19, 20-20 now. Harvesters, and finally, we're going to see NaNi making his way over. He's going to stop. Actually, no, he's just going to stop at the tower. He knows where his opponent is. See a gas steal come out by CrunCher, second time in this series, and we do have another gateway going down for NaNi. 2.
This is forcing NaNi into a 4 warp gate rush. And I love that, man. Offensive gas is such a powerful move in Protoss versus Protoss. And in fact, CrunCher is not getting his own gas. Normally when you offensive gas someone, you get your own second gas as well so that you can throw out a ton of sentries to block off the 4-gate rush, which you kind of force because they can't tech. But he's going for his own 4-gate rush because he knows that, hey, guess what? Defensive 4 warp gate owns 4 warp gates, so he might actually get a pretty strong lead from here.
Oh, wow. He is going to come out right now. CrunCher is going to see there is a Stalker and a Zealot. We do have a pylon up that can warp in shortly. He's going to go ahead and chase down the Stalker. Beautiful idea. Once that's gone, he can just micro around, take out the Zealot. Other Zealot is working away at that pylon of NaNi. And even though NaNi transition so oh, here comes the round of units coming in for NaNi, and it is not going to be good for this Stalker, and the second Stalker trapped between 2 here. He's going to have to warp units into his base. He's got one gateway that's not even open yet, and this could end up real bad.
Oh my god, CrunCher just slightly overcommitting on that harassment near the pylon. You know, if he hadn't done that, if he had gone back a little bit earlier, he would be a little bit further ahead right now. Looks like he may, in fact, chase out these Stalkers as he warps in more. There's the proxy pylon of NaNi is not actually all that close, so CrunCher will end up holding, but he has taken some additional damage, lost some additional units. Amazing play, just tiny mistake by CrunCher here.
Yeah, and, you know, don't you think he should have taken out that pylon right away? Oh, hold on, we got to fight here. Or release the push. It's going to move forward. Takes out the first Zealot. There's still one more Zealot in there. Only 4 Stalkers left for CrunCher. He's going to focus fire a couple of Stalkers down, trying to get that Zealot on Zealot action. Another one does warp in, and he is actually managing pretty well considering the army that is inside here. Only 2 Stalkers and 1 Zealot remaining. That Zealot is fairly low on health, and if he can actually get those Zealots on the Stalkers, will bring the probes out, is getting a surround there, and oh my god, he's going to hold it off again until 2 more Stalkers, 2 more Zealots making their way through the front.
This is actually really impressive by CrunCher, but he does need some more Stalkers out there. It's a lot about the Stalkers. Right now we do have very close numbers, but I mean the proxy pilot of NaNiWa is too far away. I don't think he can keep this up much longer, and CrunCher doing some great job sending that Stalker down to hell. And it looks like he is actually going to stabilize both players at 19 probes each. And in fact, the gas is still on NaNiWa's assimilator. So I would say that CrunCher, oh, wait a minute, unless he loses too many units here, he could take a lead.
I don't know why he moved out right there, but now being chased back into his base. A couple more Zealots being warped in here. One Stalker that is just real damage. They picked him up at a used Stalker sales place, and this is not well, he held this off here. I mean, look, we've seen NaNiWa going, okay, I have to limit the amount of pressure that I can do right now. He's going to regroup back at his pylon, and that's just going to give CrunCher the opportunity. He's got full chronos. He can get out more probes. In fact, you'd mentioned the probe count. It is going up for both players as they kind of realize that it looks like this phase is over. So where will they go from here? A lot of units in the middle for NaNiWa, but what is his true intention here?
Well, it looks to me, because he is bringing that probe out, and he's not even attacking the gas in his main, he's chrono boosting his warp gates. So this is telling me that we are going to see a continuation of this rush. He's going to keep on warping units, bring that probe down, put some pylons on the low ground to try to warp up into the main of CrunCher. And CrunCher right now, as long as he keeps making warp gate units, but it seems like he's kind of behind on those. He has that sentry, which is pretty important, but NaNiWa with a huge force rolling down near him.
Yeah, I mean, the 1 sentry would be good. Of course, it doesn't cover the whole ramp. We got a robotics facility going out, but I mean, truly, you're looking at the unit counting station, it is 56 food for NaNiWa and 47 for CrunCher. He is a little bit ahead in probes, but really does not have an impressive army at all. He's going to put a pylon over on the corner so he can get a little bit more vision. And, you know, he better, I'm assuming that he's going to try to maybe pop out an Immortal or 2 out of this robotics facility and just kind of go for it. But I'm not sure what the... Oh, NaNiWa with the Nexus going down. Okay.
I like this play by NaNiWa. You know, he's walking around in the middle with a lot of units. He went down towards the ramp of CrunCher, realized, oh, this guy is playing super defensive, probably bought a sentry. And as soon as you see your opponent buy some sentries, you realize, oh, you're not going to attack me for a while. If you have sentries, you're going to sit in your base for a little bit. So he's making that Nexus while CrunCher gets up his robotics bay. So it does look to me like we're going to see some Colossus play against, obviously, when you go for this quick Nexus, you're going to get that Twilight Council that NaNiWa just put down and get those Blink Stalkers out to try to outmaneuver your opponent. So a lot of this is going to come down to, will CrunCher one base all in, and will NaNiWa be able to hold that, or will CrunCher sit back and try to do a macro game and take his own expansion with his Colossus?
Now, Artos, let me ask you a question here, because, you know, based off the fact if you are defensive foregating like we saw CrunCher do, is there a window of opportunity if the rush fails by their opponent to actually counterattack, or, you know, is this typically the way that the game would go?
Well, normally it will depend upon how many units of theirs you actually kill, because it takes a moment for a foregater to be like, oh, you're defensive foregating, oh, you're not messing up your micro, I have to stop this or I'm going to die. If they overcommit a little bit and, you know, you get one good sentry force, you'll have trapped some units, something like that, then yeah, you have definitely a chance to go over and do some damage to your opponent. But that didn't really happen. They stayed so even for so long that now neither of them can really break each other. And with that first Colossus out, the second one on the way, Blink almost done, it's really hard to say who's going to be able to take this game down.
Yeah, and we just taking a look at the vision of CrunCher. He does have, of course, full knowledge with that observer that came out. And we are going to have a small force moving forward. They're going to take a little bit of damage. CrunCher's observer just following that around. I'm not sure that he saw the Colossus, but he certainly saw the Zealots. He's going to take out this forward pylon, and there are a lot of Zealots here for CrunCher. Going to move forward yet again. Looks like a small attack here, but a great... Whoa, did you see those laser beams of the Colossus? Yeah. That was insane.
Yeah, man. Blink makes those things do that every now and then. It feels like the laser beams are like tripping over themselves or something. I don't know. But right now, NaNiWa definitely has a pretty fearsome army. Those Colossi, though, are going to shred any Zealots. He's really going to have to micro his Stalkers to perfection, and he might want to do some sort of run around, maybe some sort of base trade scenario. I'm not sure. Oh, it looks like he wants to do a flank. As that Observer goes down, CrunCher's going to be playing pretty blind. Here he goes. He's working his way up, and even warping in an additional sentry. That's going to be pretty important to keep those Zealots at bay, and here we go. He is going to go ahead and engage. NaNiWa running back a little bit, wants to get that Photon Cannon in on the action. Good force fields, but blinking up, he's going to have to target down. Oh my god, the Colossus, one going down, the second Colossus going down, and now it comes down to NaNiWa's Zealots just getting crushed by CrunCher's, and CrunCher, oh my, looks like he's going to bring it up to game 5.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. You know, the blink onto the Colossi to take him out looked like it was going to be good. Separated those Stalkers out, but the amount of Zealots that there were for CrunCher and the amount of damage initially inflicted, you could see how many Zealots he still has remaining. There's 9 Zealots there, more being warped in. The Nexus goes down. Probes are being slaughtered. Here come a few more Stalkers, and I mean, he's almost forgotten that that he has blink. There we go. He's going to finally blink out of there. But there it is. GG. NaNiWa, wow. First, the offensive 4-gate. It's shut down by coL.CrunCher. He had a lot of units there in that mid game. Even got his expansion up first, but with the Colossus, there was just not much that his opponent could do at that fact. Artosis, what do you think, dude? We're going on to game number 5.
Well, I think that CrunCher is actually playing so well. The fact that he is making decisions like this, really, he is showing the CrunCher anti-fans who's boss here. I mean, throwing down the offensive gas, that almost always means that you're going to play a very defensive gas-heavy build, maybe a Blink Stalker, maybe some sentries into some Colossi, but he went for 4 Warp Gate, which made him hold everything. He's had great micro, great decision-making, really good timings on all of his attacks. You have to give this guy a lot of credit because NaNiWa is one of the scariest players in the entire world. I mean, they both went to MLG in the open bracket, and NaNiWa crushed the tournament where CrunCher kind of disappeared. So even though NaNiWa is a daunting figure, CrunCher definitely has the chance to take this match.
I think the fact that it has come to this 5th and final game, that it is 2-2 right now, certainly a lot of the fans out there, obviously for CrunCher, are absolutely thrilled, but some of the fans of NaNiWa have to certainly be saying, what is going on here? We're seeing some of our great Protosses just lose matches, and I don't know if the trend is going to continue here, but either way, an exciting victor will come out of here, and of course, we still have game number 2 that we're going to be doing later on. I'm so excited for that one as well, Artosis. So,
yeah, I'm even forgetting. How do you forget about Hasuobs against Slayer's Boxer? How do you actually do that? Well, you watch amazing PvPs, some of the better PvPs that I have seen.
Absolutely, and then you just get lost in it, and next thing you know, you're like, oh, surprise, game 2 coming up, but first, we're going to conclude this one here for the TSL Round of 8, Day 2, Game 1, Dignitas.NaNi with 2 games. He's a Protoss versus his Protoss opponent, coL.CrunCher. Game 5 is coming up next.